Hey everybody, Rina here. I enhance women on the outside by igniting the inside and helping them achieve their dreams and goals. Today's subject is VAK. What is VAK? V for visual, so something we do with our eyes. A for auditory, or preferring our ears. And K for kinesthetic, or touch. Why is VAK so important? We have 5 senses. How we communicate with the world really tells a lot about us and how we prefer to have information given to us. Let's just say that someone is visual. When someone is visual, they prefer to use their eyes as the primary mode of communication. So this is how they prefer to sense the world. If they are auditory, they prefer their ears over their eyes. And if they're kinesthetic, they actually prefer the power of touch over the eyes and the ears. How can this help us? Well, first of all, let's look at sales and influence. And I want to give out a shout out to Ray Higdon for a reminder, because he reminded me about this information that I learned, well, many moons ago. Because if this flyer looks super old, it is super old. It's by a guy named Robert Rea, and thank you, Robert, for teaching this to me. I have used this so much throughout my career. Now, so many times people think, well, hey, this is useful for sales or influence or business. I'm not in that. Why should I do that? And what I can tell you is every day of your life, in every way, you are in the influence business. If we are not influencing, we're not getting what we want. For example, yesterday, the doctor's office messed up my appointments. I had to convince them to give me an earlier appointment. They were booked out 2 months in advance, but I had to convince them to give me an earlier appointment because they messed up. So that is a position of influence. What if we go to a restaurant and we want something that's not on the menu, or something is not prepared correctly, right? We want to be in a position of influence where we can communicate with that person and get what we want. And so anything that can help us influence always works. So think about 3 different languages: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And if we speak that person's language, it's easier for them to understand. Instead of just looking on body language and cues, if I was speaking the way you wanted to hear information. What's neat about being visual, auditory, or kinesthetic is, did you know that people actually leave cues as to what they are in the language they use? So we're gonna listen. We're gonna listen with our ears to see what word choice they use. For example, if someone is visual, they will use a lot of sight words. I see what you mean. I see your point. A lot of times they might say, it's showing up in full color. I can visualize that. I get the picture. No matter how you look at it, you've lost sight of your goals. Now look here, now see here. So do you see how many visual words? They're telling you that I prefer eyes as the main means of communication. That is pretty common, because did you know about 80% of the people that we meet are visual? So having someone that has visual cues, they're going to use that type of language. I see it, I can visualize it, I can't picture it. Keep your eye on the prize, right? So that's the type of language that someone that is visual is going to use. So the next modality of processing information is auditory. And I would say if 80% of the people are visual, about 18% are auditory. So that leaves about 2% for kinesthetic. So visual is the primary group, but auditory is still a big group. That rings a bell. It's music to my ears. I hear you. I remember I was doing an appointment once, and the lady, every time I said something, the lady was like, I hear ya, I hear ya. And all of a sudden it just clicked on me. Oh my gosh, she's an auditory processor. I need to use more auditory words. Music to your ears is the information clicking. Okay, clicking, auditory. It sounds like a bunch of noise. I gotta take out the noise. Noise, again, auditory reference for something that's bothering them. I hear you loud and clear, or go ahead, I'm all ears. Okay, so this person is telling you that they would prefer auditory language. Now, when you're dealing with someone that's auditory, I highly recommend that you enunciate correctly and really control the tone of your voice and how we say our words. Whereas visual people, and can you guess what I am? Visual. They like to talk fast, right? Because they're talking in pictures. So they're trying to get you the whole picture and give you all the details as fast as they can, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and that's probably about what they're gonna give you. Auditory people want to sound it out. They need to hear it. And so many times, when I was in a position of influence, I wouldn't say the obvious. But when you're dealing with someone that's auditory, the obvious needs to be spoken. You know, I would think, hey, can't you clearly see what's going on? But they needed to actually hear what's going on. They needed the audio report. So how we take in information actually matters. There are so many songs that are built for someone that is auditory. So a song that is auditory, you will listen to the lyrics and they have all auditory references. The clacking of the train tracks, the whistling of the wind, the chirping of the birds. So you listen to these auditory references. Whereas for music that's visual, you're gonna listen to more of a beat, okay? A very loud, fast beat is a very visual type of music. So now we are going to come to my favorite type, the kinesthetic, and they like to communicate with the sense of touch. Now, guess what the polar opposite of a visual person is? Someone that's kinesthetic. And of course, God surrounded me in my life with a bunch of people that are kinesthetic. Kinesthetic people need to actually feel and process their words. So when I speak fast, and I do tend to speak fast, I have to slow down a lot for someone that's kinesthetic. And I might need to pause so they can feel out what I'm actually saying. I have so many cool examples. So the first thing is, one of my really good friends from college is totally kinesthetic. And I remember we spent this Saturday in this small town and we were going from boutique to boutique, right? And we're looking at clothes. And she was like, hey Rina, touch this, can you feel this? And I was like, why? I can look at it and tell you if it's okay or not. She's like, isn't this soft? Isn't this smooth? And I'm like, who cares? It's ugly. It doesn't look good. You know, I'm visual. If it's ugly, I don't care if it's soft or smooth. But she was like, feel this. And so her dressing patterns were always so interesting because she would combine probably the two most comfortable like shirt and pants, but it never looked good. It never matched. So to me, I was always like, why are you wearing that? Like, it doesn't go together. There's nothing complete about this outfit. But she would be wearing like the biggest, fuzziest socks, and she would be wearing the most comfortable boots. And you know, my thing is I'm visual, right? So when I'm clothes shopping, I'm like, I don't care if the shoes are gonna break your ankle or the thing is so tight it cuts off circulation. If I look good, I'm gonna wear it. Whereas her modality was, how does it feel? So I remember we went through all these shops and she kept wanting me to touch stuff, and I was like, I don't want to touch anything. I can look at it. I can look at it from very far away and I know whether I like it or not. I'm not going to go ahead and interact with it. I don't need to touch it. What type of language will a kinesthetic processor use? This is how I feel about it. That guy is so out of touch. I understand the situation. Try to smooth it over. That's a really slippery concept. We're on a rocky road here. Get a grip of yourself. Grip, kinesthetic. I can't put my finger on the problem. I just can't put my finger on it. So you will see that, see, I already said you will see. Kinesthetic people will use words that are related to touch. And how this benefits us is that when we're communicating with someone and we notice that they have a different style, we can easily switch our language so they can understand us better. And that makes a better communication. So whether you need someone to give you a discount on an oil change, or you're calling customer service, or you're communicating with a family member. My son is so kinesthetic, and I just realized that, you know, when I communicate with him and I fire off those questions, boom, 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 it's too fast for him. And he doesn't have time to feel out his answers. He can't put a finger on it. He feels like I'm out of touch. So I need to slow down. And I will ask him a question. And then in my mind, I slowly count to 10 and then expect a response. Because so many times he wouldn't respond, and I'd be like, oh, maybe you need more information. Maybe you don't see the picture. But now I just realize he just needs time to feel out the message. So what did you like and learn today? Put that in the comments below. Visual learning. They like to see the picture. They like loud music. They talk fast. They look sharp, because looks are everything. Their house looks sharp. Their car looks amazing because they are visual processors. Auditory people, what do they like? They like good sounds. They might have an amazing speaker system. They articulate the way they speak because how you sound matters. They like music with the lyrics that relate to sounds. They're gonna tell you by using sound words. I hear you, it clicks. It's music to my ears. And that's how we know that we are speaking their language and they are understanding us. Kinesthetic people, slow down, take a breath. They like to feel it out. Let them have the time to process through feelings because it takes a little longer. Let them be able to put their finger on it. That's way too hot, or that person was just so cold. So they are using sensory words. And when you're with somebody, figure out what sensory word they are and adjust your style so you can get what you want, because influence means that we effectively communicate what we need to communicate in a way that the person listening to us can understand it. So I'm Rina. If you like this video, click like, definitely share this video, and leave in the comments what type of information you'd like to learn about mindset, confidence, and having courage to live your dreams.